What's going on, people? Welcome to the live match reaction. Palace 3, as well as the 3 points, and Sheffield United 2. We're going to be discussing the win and also going through your comments. The lines will be open in about a few minutes' time where you can join in and have your say. As always, if you do enjoy the content, don't ask for much. If you can hit the like button and subscribe to keep the channel growing and keep the community growing as well, which it has been doing over the past month or so, that will be fantastic. There's a lot of people here. There's a lot of comments coming through. But before we actually get started and invite people on, just quickly, Stan, what are you saying? How's it?
How am I? I think we made very, very hard work of that game, man. Like there's a reason they've got 9 points. They're absolutely terrible. And we let them score 2 goals. Yeah, that's all I can say. But listen, 3 points is 3 points. And we move forward. Scum got battered tonight. So battered to the point.
I don't know if that's going to be good for us, though. I'll be honest. We'll talk about that later, but I don't know if that's going to be good for us.
Mate, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe they'll come back all guns blazing, or maybe we're in a bad run of form. But let's hope that either Eze or Elise aren't injured. That's all we can hope for.
And look, I think there's a lot to talk about today. Look, I'm going to say it, and some people might not like me for this, but that result is paper over cracks. That's the short answer for it. Massive paper over cracks. Today, what I saw in the second half, it wasn't good enough. It's showing the same problems. I'll be honest. I said as well. I tweeted it during the game. It was individual brilliance today that won us the game. There's nothing to really do with tactics. We saw it when Eze and Elise came off. When Eze and Elise comes off for any side, you would expect a negative impact, of course, because of how great they are as players. But what I expect from a Palace side is when you have Eze and Elise off, that's when your tactics kick in. When I talk about tactics, I'm not talking about change of formation. That's when you really see what you worked on in the training pitch in terms of what you're trying to do in attack as well as defense. And I'll be honest, it got proven. In the last 15, 20 minutes, we basically had nothing in a game going forward. Eze and Elise, brilliant masterclass from both of them. But tactically, we don't know what we're doing in attack. In midfield, it wasn't that bad, but defensively, it wasn't an awful performance. But for me, as you said, Stan, I think 9 points. You said I thought they won 10 points. We went head to head. We went head to head with a side with.
They've got 10 points.
They've got 10 points, and we went head to head with a side. I got 10 points. I'm not going to sit here and say, "Oh, we are back." I'm happy with the result. I think this result was massive for us. We had to win this game, but for me, looking ahead and looking at today's performance, I don't think there's anything that's really changed my mind in terms of the manager and our approach. Because I'll be honest, even the substitution in the second half was negative as well. We got the 3 points, but honestly, I was at the ground and it didn't even feel like we were winning. The atmosphere was so flat. I think people are just tired. But some people, of course, they're happy with it and, respect all opinions on here. But for me, it was massively paper over cracks. If you still ask me right now, would I want Hodgson gone? 100%. 100%. I think this game proved it even more. A win is a win. And it's fantastic. It's fantastic for us. We had to win this game. But when I look at how we played, when I look at the subs, when I look at the performances, it's Eze and Elise AFC. And that's great. They're great players to have. But we don't have anything really tactically going forward, man. Any phases of play, any patterns. So we
do with those two on the pitch. But can I just say,
but
why did he bring Schlupp
It's just
on?
them two. It's just them two. I don't think with them on the pitch, what we saw today is they're so damn good that they can create their chance or they can have that shot to score the goal. But I didn't really see anything from us as a team today to say, oh, great 1-2. Oh, that's what we're trying to do. Great phases in the final third. I didn't see any of that. And when they both came off, it exposed us. It exposed us.
I do agree with what you're saying to an extent, but I thought Lerma was very good today, as usual. I thought he played quite well. I just come back from AFCON. He got involved. I thought Mateta was quite good. Like, there were phases of play. The shocking part was that we conceded 2 absolutely brutal goals to probably one of the worst teams I've ever seen in the Premier League. So that was a brutal part. Can I just say, Dean Henderson, he is shit, bruv. He
No,
is
I don't think.
so bad.
I don't think. You can, I don't know. No, come on.
D,
He's not.
he
He's had some massive saves for us. Are you
D,
talking about the second goal, which was a deflection? I haven't watched it back, but it
D.
was a deflection.
Sam Johnson saves the first goal. He saves the second goal, and he comes off his line. Henderson nearly got caught out towards the end. Joa had to rescue. He didn't come off his line. He had one clearance to make to distribute, and he skied it into the half away. He's the worst, mate.
Okay.
He is Wayne Hennessy and Scott Flinders levels. I don't know if you're
young. No. That's too far. He's not Wayne Hennessy level. He's not Wayne Hennessy level. I'm sorry. He's not Wayne Hennessy level. But about the first goal, one thing that I'll admit is 22 seconds. I wasn't even in the ground when we conceded that first goal. And can you really blame me? 22 seconds. I have to go watch it back. I haven't watched it back, so maybe you do have a point there. I don't think he's Wayne Hennessy levels, though, Stan. I don't think so. He's made some great saves for us as well. And he hasn't been that bad. Maybe for the first goal, yes, but today he wasn't. Was he tested as much? And the second goal was a deflection, and after that, they had one or two shots. They were pressuring us, but they didn't actually create that many opportunities in front of goal, even though they kept the possession a bit more in the second half. But yeah, I don't think Dean Henderson was that bad. Simon saying we won the game in spite of Roy, not because of him. He has to go. Mitch saying no way is the atmosphere going to be anything but flat after conceding 21 seconds. So what was it, Stan? You tell me, because I wasn't there. I'm not going to lie and act like I saw what happened when we conceded the first goal. Was it, you're saying the goalkeeper should have done better, but defensively, could we have done a bit better?
Yeah, I think we fell asleep and we let him get a shot away in 22 seconds, which is criminal. Listen, we won that game because of two absolutely fantastic players that we have. And listen, not every player can be an absolute certy baller on a team, right? They can't be. But we were very, very lucky that we played a really shit team today. I think it was the case with Brentford as well, that we got them on a bad day. Sheffield United, I'm not saying they're a great side, but one thing Chris Wilder has done is he's given them heart, he's given them a bit of belief and a bit of desire, and they will batter you around. I mean, they nearly leveled it up. They hit the bar, for crying out loud, so it wasn't a comfortable victory. But listen, we what's it called? We won. That's the main thing. It doesn't change anything for me. I think the manager's still got to go. I think that these two signings will help a lot. Yeah, that's all I can say on the matter, really. But we made hard work of it, man. And then we had 11 minutes of added time just to prolong the absolute agony that we had to put up with for 90. Do you know
I was worried, man. I was worried. Look, when Eze went off, that's when I was really worried, because I thought like that we're going to get a bit exposed. The lines are open, by the way, people. If you want to call into the show and have your say, you can click on this link. Unfortunately, I don't know why, but we can't pin the link, but I'll post it throughout the show anyways. So if you want to join us via video, feel free to click on it to have your say on the game. But I'll be going through the comments as well. Mukta says, talk about the problems, Hughes and Richards. Let's start off with Richards, because Mitch said that as well, that Richards got done for the first goal. He started at right back today. I'll be honest, when I saw the lineup and Richards starting at right back, I was actually happy with it, because I've been calling for it for a while. I don't think he's going to be great going forward, but defensively, I don't think he can be any worse than what we have right now. But look, he started today, Stan. Richards in defense, maybe he could have done a bit better for the first goal, but overall, what do you make of his performance? Because Hodgson did change it about.
I'm a big fan of Chris Richards, and he did change it about. I thought he was okay. I don't think he was a huge issue. I think he did what he had to do. Hodgson's played him here, there, and everywhere, right? So he's played him in DM, he's played him at centre back against Arsenal, and a couple of other times. And he's played him right back. Is he a right back? Probably not. But he was fine. Yeah, I think he did okay. He wasn't the reason for our problems. He gave it his all and did what he could do.
Yeah, and we've got a new right back now, Munoz. He was on the pitch today. He took a selfie as well, so hopefully he gets more opportunities. We'll see with that, but maybe Brighton might be a bit too soon. But it just shows why we desperately need a right back, because even Richards, it might be the short-term answer, but we've desperately needed an outright right back, and we got one. So we're going to see what happens with him. And quickly, Will Hughes as well. Just get these out the way before we talk about Eze's and Elise's, because they were fantastic. I mean, look, Will Hughes is a squad player. He shouldn't be a Premier League starter week in, week out, because I think his ability is limited. He puts in a challenge. He loves his challenge. But other than that, I mean, he's got limitations to his game. And that's why we're bringing in Wharton from Blackburn. And he's going to be a fantastic signing, which we'll do a separate stream for that when he's officially announced. But Will Hughes, it's a short-term answer, right, Stan? It's nothing.
Definitely.
Week in, week out.
My heart cannot take Will Hughes playing a full 90 minutes for us. He's not great. He was rubbish today. Like, he was rubbish. He tried to listen again. Like, he is a squad player. He's fine coming on, seeing out a game. But when you've got him dead on his feet for 90 minutes, the other one was Schlupp. Like, how is he? How is he so bad? Like, how is he so bad? Like, honestly, I think he's toilet, mate. I thought, you know what? Fair play to the kid Ozo when he came on, because he done good.
We're going to talk about the subs.
He done really, really good. You know?
And just quickly about Ozo, I'll have to say one thing, that anyone who questions whether he's ready or not because of his age, I'll be honest, he came on the pitch, and what he done on the pitch as what? He's 19 years old. He was the youngest on the pitch, but he was a proper leader. And I've said it all along with the midfield situation. Wharton is going to be a fantastic signing, and I'm so excited for him to come to the club. But David Ozo is also ready to feature in more Premier League matches, and he should have featured in more Premier League games so far this season with our injury concerns before Wharton came in, because he has been ready physically and technical ability, and he's not even scared. He's not scared of the occasion. I mean, we're 3-2 up. You can easily go wrong. In terms of, 3-2 up against Sheffield United, you're a young player, you could get nervous, you could be worried, right? Ozo comes on a pitch, and he seems like he's used to this. And I've seen it all along.
Did you see him just getting in the play, like the winger's face, and just like, boom, come off me for a throw back, let's go. Ran it down a corner flag. He's, what's it called? I was like, one time, I think he slipped up a little bit. I was like, Ozo, like, please, like, you're so much better than that. And then, like, I just saw, like, the other stuff that he did, and I was like, fair play to the kid. He's 19 years old, and he's coming on to see out a game. Like, that's, there's a player in there. Like, we're also going to have an update on Eze and Elise in terms of their injuries. I think Roy's spoke after the game about that, so we're going to be bringing them comments through as well to see if they are serious or not. But let's bring on some of the guests before we talk about the second half, because there's a lot to talk about in the second half for me rather than the first half, because I think that's where the subs, I think that's the main talking point today. And also even like the performance in the second half in comparison to the first half, I think it's worth discussing. But let's bring on Kenny first.
Kenny? Hello, guys.
How you doing, Kenny? You all right, mate?
3-2 against Sheffield United. Managed to get the win, but I don't know. Can you say it wasn't easy at the end, or for you, was you happy with the performance, the result? What do you make of the game?
For me, I'm just going to say that I wasn't happy with the game.
Why wasn't you happy?
For me, if it wasn't for Olise and Eze, Crystal Palace wouldn't have won that match today. Because Crystal Palace don't have nobody that can score goals for them. That's the problem.
But then when you look at the importance of Eze and Elise, and I'm just, I agree with you, but I'm looking at the other side of things as well to try to add some balance. But when you look at Eze and Elise, I mean, how many sides can do as well without Eze and Elise in the side? Do you think that they're just so good that, sometimes you just have to appreciate what you have in there? Because when Eze and Elise went off, we were worse. For me, I personally, I don't know about you, Kenny, we'll get your thoughts. I thought that tactically we got exposed, especially going forward. Eze and Elise for us carried it, and their individual brilliance made us, score 3 goals. But for you, when you mentioned Eze and Elise, apart from them, is it the tactics that you weren't happy with? Because the alternative is never going to be as good as Eze and Elise because they're top quality players.
I don't think it was the tactics, but I just think it's the players that are on the pitch that they don't know what to do without Olise and Eze there. That's the problem. It wasn't the tactics. I just think it's just the players. And
So who do
I
you
think,
blame that on? So how don't they know what to do? Surely that goes back on a manager, right? Because the manager is the one that gives them the instructions to be able to play on a pitch.
yeah, and the manager has to take some of the actions as well. Yeah, he has to.
You know, Kenny, the one thing I will say is that like the Eze and Elise, like Eze on his own hasn't been fantastic at all this season. He's had a couple of good games, don't get me wrong, but it's when the two of them are there. And I think like any team, including the top teams, they will miss players of that quality, right? So, and you look at like, I'm trying to compare a team. So you look at like, you know, look at Brighton, our rivals. I mean, I'm trying to think. They've got a lot of injuries at the moment. Who's in, who's out. They miss a lot of players. You look at, you know, I'm trying to see. Even look at Man City when Haaland isn't there. When you know there's
Rodri,
Rodri. You know, when they're not there, you're going to miss them. I personally think that our defense fell asleep. I'm starting to wonder if Joachim Andersen actually wants to be here. I think he's just waiting to get out at the end of the season. I think he's had enough, which I don't blame him for. Great player, but I think he's disinterested. And yeah, you know, that's all that we can say. But I think, you know, you're definitely going to score more goals when those two are on the field for sure.
Yes, I think we would, because I think there's a problem with the strikers up front. I think there's a problem because none of the strikers that are scoring goals. If it wasn't for Eze and Olise, no one would have scored today.
What do you think of Mateta's performance today? Because I thought it was decent. I mean, he didn't really get that many opportunities in front of goal, but his hold-up play and you can see it towards the end. He was gassed, like he just needed help. He just needed to be subbed off, but. You know, he's been a player that's been linked with a move away from the club. Overall, I was actually pleased with his performance.
Yeah, he played well, but the problem is, he needs to score, because sometimes it's not about playing well. It's about scoring the goals as well. That's what you need.
Did he get opportunities today? Did he get opportunities in front of goal that, you know, he missed? Because today, I get it, and overall, I get what you're trying to say. Like, of course, the strikers, at the end of the day, you want them to score goals, not just a hold-up play. But today, when you look at today's game, I just don't know if Mateta got opportunities for him to be, you know, not scoring the goals, to have this discussion. But that's me. I don't know. Maybe you saw
defensive striker that he was today.
But he put in the effort though, Stan. I mean, if you're not getting opportunities in front of goal, you have to do something. And before, with both Mateta and Edouard, I've said it all along, for Crystal Palace striker anyways, we can't expect the striker to score 15, 20 goals. But what we can expect is a striker to have a bit of hold-up play. For example, we lost Kenny. A striker to have a bit of hold-up play and, you know, get involved like that. But, you know, right now we are seeing that with Mateta. He has improved with hold-up play and he's getting more involved. So I have to give him credit for that, because I've been Mateta's one of his biggest critics. Because I've said it all along. When we did first sign him officially, I was on there on a deadline day show saying, is it too early? I mean, why have we signed him on a permanent deal? But lately, he has improved and he's offering a bit more. And today, I don't think he had a bad performance. But let us know in the comments if you agree or disagree. Let's bring on the next guest of the evening, Henry.
How you doing,
to the game as well. 3-2 against Sheffield United. You got a smile on your face, so you must be happy.
Well, yeah, I'm happy. I mean...
Or are you just happy seeing me or Stan? What is it?
I think he's happy to see me and you, mate.
One of the two.
both really, but mainly it's just to be honest, that I have mixed feelings, because obviously I'm always happy to win, but I feel that we played a very, very bad game. I thought we were shocking, really, to be honest. I think at the start of the show, when you said that, you know, that win papers over the cracks, it's like, well, that pretty much sums it all up, to be honest, because that was very, very unconvincing. And I was saying to a few people as well, you know, the only reason we won that game was because of individual moments of quality, from, you know, 2 great goals from Ebbs and 1 cracking strike from Elise. I thought we were very sluggish. I mean, these players have had so much time off since the Everton FA Cup game, and they just came out looking like they couldn't be arsed, like they couldn't be bothered. They were so sluggish. They didn't want to run. It's like they didn't want it, and it very much seemed to me, at least in sort of the opening period of the match, it seemed that Sheffield United wanted it more than us, and I thought, that's really concerning. You know, I mean, I know their position is a lot more dire than ours, but still, this was a huge match for us. You know, and if we didn't win it, we would have been banging trouble. So, I'm just hugely relieved, really, more than anything.
So Henry, you say Sheffield United wanted it more than us, and I think you know, like I said before, I think what they have is, like I said, like Chris Wilder has gotten the heart, the desire. You know, they're not the greatest of players. I mean, you know, we were playing it today against like Ollie McBurney and Oliver Norwood or whoever it was. Right, they're not great players, really, but they did, you know, they did cause us some problems. I was like, honestly, who was the guy that played the right wing in the second half? Algerian international. He actually caused us he was a pest.
I can't remember his name. It was like, but I know what you mean. He did cause us a few problems, that guy. But I mean, we conceded after bloody 22 seconds. I couldn't believe it. We hadn't.
I wasn't there. I was too late. I missed the party. I mean, 20 seconds. I thought maybe I could be, you know, a few minutes later. Maybe, you know, I know we're bad, but I didn't think we were going to be that bad.
We literally hadn't touched the ball, and we were 1-0 down. And I thought, fucking hell, like this is going to be a long. I mean, we I think you said yesterday that, you know, if we go behind or if something goes against us, then the stadium would you know, go flat, and I think that happened. I mean, the atmosphere was just the fans were so flat, even when we were winning.
I just want to ask you about that, because you was at the ground, of course. Because I thought the same as well. Like, even towards the end of the game, I know after the final whistle there was lots of claps and everyone was happy, of course, but in the last, I mean, if you look at the game overall, even when we were 3-2 up, it was just very flat. That's my opinion, anyways. But
I agree.
What do you make of that atmosphere?
Absolutely agree. I mean, I think it just reflects the state of the club and, you know, the way that fans feel right now. I don't think one win or one, you know, performance. Well, it was a shocking performance anyway, but I think what that shows today with the atmosphere being so flat is that most of the fans, the majority of them, are completely and utterly fed up, because usually in a game like this, you know, with huge stakes, the fans are up for it. We're singing, we're getting behind the players. I'm not saying we didn't get behind the players, but just the level of vocal support wasn't quite there for me, you know?
Like, you get behind the players, you're 3-2 up, right? You're 3-2 up, you get behind the players. Yeah, but it was
something off.
Yeah, something off. I agree.
You know,
100%.
Sorry to cut you off there, but also, you know, the way that it was just like the Brentford game, but when we were hanging on for 3-1, we were sitting back so much, and I was really scared because we had Ebbs came off from injury, Elise came off from injury, so suddenly we're 3-2 up, but we've lost 2 of our best players. We don't have any attacking creativity without those 2 players. So it literally was a case of, if we concede, we're done for, right? So it was literally a case of just back to the wall, just defend for your lives for the last 20 odd minutes. And you know what? We were quite lucky to get away with it, because they hit the bar as well.
They did. But what I'll say, Henry, is I think that we do have attacking creativity on that bench. We had França on there today. Ahmed as an attacking player, but he took, who did he take off? He took off Elise and he brought on Jeffrey Schlupp, and I was like, are you kidding me? Like, what are you?
This was a great time to talk about it. The subs.
Honestly,
I really wanted to touch on the subs.
You're right. We do have creative players on the bench, but what I mean, I guess, is that we don't use them. So it's like you're sitting there as a fan, you're thinking, well, is Roy going to bring on Franca? Highly doubtful. So it's like, you know, you're sitting there and you're like, oh, well, if we concede, then we're fucked. You know what I mean? It's just
where I was, Henry. I don't know about you. Where I was at the ground, I heard a few boos when Schlupp came on. I don't know if you heard it. Maybe it was different.
I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it.
I was in a home zone. So I was in a home zone, and I actually heard a few boos. Yeah, I heard a few boos when Schlupp actually came on. It wasn't like loud, of course. You didn't hear it, but there were a few boos around me when Schlupp came on. And I think this is the problem, right? We leave the game today. We win 3-2. We got the 3 points. But these are still massive issues in my eyes. Game management. Absolutely. Some of the plays that's coming on or not. Eze and Elise are off. Yeah. And he still brings on Jeffrey Schlupp. Now, this is why Munoz sounds great, but I've said it all along. I don't know if he will play him. I guess only time will tell.
If
He's got
honestly,
to play him. You know
Yeah.
what? He's got to play him because Ward's injured, and we only have one other right. I know Richards played there today.
You got
but
Richards there. You got
but
Klein
I
there. He doesn't have to play him. He doesn't have to.
personally-
listen,
no,
he has to
personally,
play him. He has to play him.
He
If
doesn't
he
have
doesn't,
to. Because you
He
can
has
make the
to.
same argument that Franson used to play, but he didn't play.
No, but-
Like he doesn't have to play him. There's technically other alternatives. Richards today was an alternative. You still have Klein there. You have Richards there. He doesn't have to play. Like he doesn't unless all three of them
Yeah.
are out injured. Then fair enough. Then there's literally no one. But right now. He doesn't have to play, man. I think subs is a big concern today. Not with me, I think with a lot of other fans. It's just the fact that them subs are just negative. Ozo
So
was
negative.
good, even though Ozo isn't a number 10 in my opinion. But we have Francois, Hamad on
Yeah.
the bench, and it just the same old. It's so
I mean, it
predictable.
surprises because usually he at least brings Amada on, at least for like the last 10 or 15 minutes. But no, he didn't even do that. I mean,
You know
to be
what?
honest, I thought Richards. I just want to touch on Richards because I didn't think he had a great game, to be honest. I think he did all right, but for me, I just think he struggled to cope with the pace, and I think they were sort of getting behind him a bit too much. And I don't know. For me, I would have preferred Klein to play. If, you know.
Sheffield United were getting behind him. Shocking, lad.
Yeah, I mean,
Shocking.
to be fair, I thought the only player that I was really worried about tonight was the guy who scored the first goal, Brereton Diaz. But other than that, that they're at the bottom of the table for a reason. I mean, it's just unbelievable. We've literally made so much hard work to beat the league's worst team.
Yeah, I mean,
It's just like, wow. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's like,
that's why I'm not as convinced as you. Like literally, I left that game. I was not even left that game. I was watching that game, and I was thinking, we're going head to head with the league's worst side, and I was expecting a reaction from them because I don't think Sheffield United have been that bad as of recently, even though they've had a slow start to the season. But still, they haven't got the quality. They're still struggling to pick up wins, and that's why they've only got 10 points in 22 games. And I'm leaving the ground. And I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking. If you want my all honesty, I'm thinking Heze's worth 50 million plus. At least he's worth 50 million plus. We say the same thing for Gehi. We got all these different players that are worth so much money, right? And we leave the ground. Yes, we've got the win, but damn, like, how many Sheffield United players can you say are worth on the same level as some of our players that we had on the pitch? And you look at our bench, for example, France are not coming with 20 million pound on France, and you're just thinking, we won the game 3-2, but against the worst side in the Premier League, and we just narrowly beat them with players that we're talking about worth tons of money, way much than Sheffield United players, and it's so tight. For me, it's not as convincing. There's nothing that's changed. It's like the same old today. I left the ground, same old. It's a win, but it's the same old.
Changed. The thing the thing I'm thinking as well, leaving the ground, is like, oh, we got 24 points from 22 games now. That's good. That means we can afford to lose the next 2 and still be on the same as many points as games played. Like that's the sort of mentality that us Palace fans are used to having. Like it's just so. I mean, if we play like that, right, against Brighton, I'm glad I'm not really going to follow the game on Saturday because I've got other plans, luckily. But I mean, if I turn my phone on at like 5 or 6 o'clock or whatever, and I don't see that we've lost 4 or 5-0, I will be extremely surprised because
bad. Well, they got spanked by Luton today, and I think they're going to be having. To be fair, Henry, I'm in the same boat with you. On Saturday,
absolutely shit against the league's worst team. Imagine what Brighton are going to do to us.
Okay, but Henry, Brighton have 3 wins in 16 games.
Yeah, that's more than us, isn't it?
It's about the same.
I don't think anyone. Yeah. Well, then again, it's Palace against Brighton. I don't know. Maybe we have a reaction.
I just think they're going to be at home. You know that they're going to be well up for it. You know what their fans are going to be like. What chance do we have, honestly? That's why.
What are their fans going to do? Start singing Christmas carols?
No, they.
They're going to.
Look. Brighton are Brighton, of course, but let's be real. They're in the FA Cup 5th round. They're in the round of 16 of the Europa League.
Yeah.
Like, of course, today was funny. Today was funny, exactly, but we can't really say
It was
much
funny,
right now.
but
Like,
I'm not gonna lie.
it's hard. It's hard.
I wasn't even happy about Luton spanking Brighton because I looked at that in the table and I thought, oh shit, that means Luton are closer to us.
Yeah, exactly,
You know what I mean?
exactly. I looked at the
So I
table,
couldn't even
thinking,
enjoy
damn.
it really.
Yeah,
But then,
yeah.
luckily, I think we're 4 points ahead of them, which is, I think, that's not too bad to be fair. But man, it was just, you know, I don't know. It's just, it's a weird one. It's a really weird one. You know, Mateta played all right. I didn't think he did good hold up play. Didn't really have many chances, but yeah, I mean, I guess that means we got Roy for at least a couple more weeks now. What we do? Yeah.
It's just dragging. That's what it is. It's dragging on for me anyway.
Stay of execution.
Yeah. Look, Henry. We'll let you go home. It's late night. But look, thanks for coming on the stream. And yeah, get home safe.
Yeah.
Nice one, Henry.
Palace.
Easy, brother.
All right, let's bring on the next guest. If you're enjoying the stream, by the way, people, if you can like and subscribe, takes a second of your time. It will be much appreciated to keep the channel growing. Let's bring on Tim next. Tim, 3-2 win against Sheffield United at home.
How did Tim?
Happy?
No, not. I mean, I'm I think it was Tom Clark who said it, and I think everybody said it. It's like I'm relieved. I'm relieved. I hate watching us sit in and defend for our lives. To be fair, I did think the last 11 minutes, like seeing out the final 11 after it hits the bar, but which was a heart attack of a moment. And I just felt like, here we go. And thankfully it hit the bar. But Ozo was particularly great in those moments of seeing it out. I totally agree with you, D. I thought he was terrific. He was composed, excellent. I liked him a lot. And I did think Eddie came on and had a couple of moments where he won some key balls.
It was good. Last 5-6 minutes, very good.
Yeah, he was terrific in those last 5 minutes. But yeah, I mean, I hate watching us. I hate watching us sit back and pray. That's what I do now, guys. That's what I do. I'm like holding my hands and praying that a ball does not go in, which is that's not a good experience. I agree. I agree with a lot of what you both said. But I did like Ozo. I liked him coming on. I can't complain about work. I have a great job, but my job took me away. So I didn't get to see the Elise goal live. I've seen it back. And wow. I mean, that kid is special.
Yeah.
He's been fantastic. Every single game that he plays this season, he's getting assists or goals. And
he's a monster.
I think so. I'll try to find the comments what Roy said after the game about Eze and Elise because he didn't mention them.
Well, he did say, I saw this, D. He said they still need to be assessed, but he said they were upbeat, so he's hopeful they'll be ready for the weekend.
Yeah.
So just to let you know, Eze was on BBC Sport, and he said both him and Michael will be fine. So,
okay, awesome.
That was a precaution. Just one question from me, Tim.
Yeah, sure.
So you're a finance man. So we found 30 million quid down the back of the sofa. So how do you think the new signings will help us going into the sort of last, what have we got, 16 or 15 games of the season?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a great question because everybody said this up to this point, so this is not an original thing to say. It's like, it depends on what Roy does with them. Like, I think he's got, I think you said this, Stan, before I came on, and I couldn't agree more. Like, I don't think he can get away with not playing Munoz. That is absolute. That feels concrete. Like there's no excuse. He's 27. He has international experience. He's played against the highest, competition in the world. It wasn't like 5 months ago he was playing in the Europa League. Like the guy's got serious
Champions League. Yeah.
Yeah. There's no way that but I say that, and anything is possible. So I completely agree that Munoz is a no-brainer. The question is Wharton, and I think Wharton is a great piece of business. What it looks like is that the deal is topped up by the add-ons. So the original deal of £18.5 million topped up by another £3.5 million in add-ons. And probably, if I had to guess, I'd say, because there's two things going on. Blackburn, I mean, I'm not going to give them too much credit here, but we do have a way of finding clubs that are in positions that do need money. And Blackburn badly needs money. They have, I think it's a minimum £11 million tax bill that they have to pay.
Yeah.
And the Venky's are having trouble getting money. The owners, the Venky's, are having trouble getting money out of India. Mm-hmm. So if we can come in and we have no PSR problems, we have no FFP problems, we can come in and say, I can solve that problem for you if you're willing to sell Adam Wharton. So I do think that I'll give them, if they get it over the line. Let's wait until they get it over the line. It looks like that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So
today, yeah.
It does look like it's over the line. If so, very shrewd piece of business. Very shrewd piece of business. Very well done. Yeah. But there's a huge question about whether or not Wharton plays, just given what we know about Roy. I think he should, but what do I know?
I just want to because with Wharton, I'm going to do a special stream for that where we'll probably open up the lines and we'll talk about him in a bit more detail. Tim, I just quickly want to ask you about today's game and looking ahead now. We got Brighton, we got Chelsea. For me, I'll be honest, nothing really changes. For me, like the manager still has to go. This win doesn't change that. For you today, you did say you're not as optimistic, even though we won the game. You're not like massively.
I just hated the watch. I hated the watch instead of the magic moments. Right?
What do you think needs to happen? What do you think will happen with Roy? Does he stay 2-3 games and stay to the end of the season? Because I mean, Luton are there and about. So I mean, we're not that far off the relegation. I think Everton.
Well, we're 6 points off.
Maybe,
we're 6 points off the bottom. And I mean, I think it's going to be touch and go, but I think it's very likely that we're going to get Roy till the end of the season. If Ebbs and Michael can stay in the side, and if Munoz comes in and we have an actual, like that's, if we start, this is the only hope I'm going to give you here, D, because I'm more optimistic generally, but I've not liked seeing us sit back and wait to see if somebody scores against us. It's a dire watch, and I hate that. But here's the big but. We have a very unbalanced attack. We have, and in fact, it's a mind-numbingly unbalanced attack. If Munoz is as advertised, and he can get down the right and create space for Michael, and Michael can create space for Ebbs, and we can start opening up the middle, then I think we can do some damage. But that depends a lot on who Munoz is. And then if Wharton gets some time and he is as good as advertised and we can actually get some balls into the middle of the park, the problem with, I mean, I love Chris Richards, but he wasn't great again today. And Chris Richards does not offer a consistent ball that cuts the lines. He doesn't do it. And
he's also a centre back, though, Tim.
I know, but he's being put in positions. You're 100% right, Stan. But he's being put in positions where we'd want to get that ball. And so if Wharton is a player that, I mean, look, I would love it if Ozo and Wharton are the next double pivot behind Decore and Lerma, and we could look forward to that, and we could start seeing some, line splitting passes from the middle of the park. Game on, man. I would be out of my mind.
I have, Tim. I mean, this is what I asked myself. With how we're playing right now, if another manager came in, how much worse could it get from this? Because I don't think right now we're that great defensively. We're still leaking goals.
No, we're still
not
very much
like,
leaking
we're not
goals,
in
yeah.
attack. I'm not really seeing anything going forward other than individual brilliance that is going to happen if Elise is on a pitch. So it's just a question of like, there's nothing really that I'm looking at this side and saying that's why we should keep Roy. We're still good defensively. We're not great defensively anymore, and that's the one thing he's good at. So if we're not good defensively, and if we're relying on just Eze and Elise to create their own moments rather than us creating moments as a team,
patterns of play.
I don't think we can get any worse with another man. Like, I just don't know what.
But he's just not going to bring someone in, is he? I mean, Parrish is.
That's the thing. I don't think he's going to bring somebody in. Yeah, go ahead, Stan. Sorry.
I think Parrish he's reactive. He's not proactive, and he's not going to bring someone in. He's not. I just think he's just. How can you say?
I think he's going to resist it. Yeah.
He's he spent all of a sudden only loans, got no money, and all of a sudden he's found 30 million quid down the back of the couch. So he's spending money there.
That's a very good point. I forgot about that. You did say that. Only loans and stuff, and now we spent 30 million pounds. So all along we did have a bit of money. I mean, where did this money come from?
Well, wait, hang on. We know where the money came from. They've been saying this, but we had to kind of put it in context. So this is what I've been paying attention to. I always knew we had money. It was a question of whether or not we were actually going to spend it. I personally give credit to the fans to saying enough is enough and forcing us to say, like, look, we've got to get serious and see what we can do here. I do think the fans made some of this happen. I really do believe that. But I think we've always had money. Did either of you look at the Deloitte money report from earlier in the month? Okay.
I didn't.
Okay. So look. So get this. All right. So the Deloitte money report puts Palace, I believe it's 28th in world leagues in turnover for 22-23. And so I did the translation, 206.5 million euro. That is equivalent to 176.2 million pounds. That's up 10%. If that's real, that's up 10% year over year. We got money. It's not that we don't generate some money to use on transfers. And I'll tell you, man, 6.9 million pounds for Munoz with no add-ons. If he is as advertised, that's a freaking steal. Wharton at 22 million is also potentially a freaking steal.
He's a prospect. I mean, listen, I've not seen him play, but I spoke to a mate of mine who's a Blackburn Rovers fan, and he said, "I can't believe he's going to Palace. He's unbelievable."
Yeah. He's everyone.
I've heard that too.
The other one I've seen his highlight reel. He reminds me of Conor Gallagher. He does. He reminds me of Conor Gallagher. Zippy can get his foot in, zip it about.
He's also two-footed, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, Tim. There's a lot of people waiting behind.
No, you got to go, man.
Translating that as well. But we'll catch up with you probably on a Wharton stream if you're free. Then, anyways.
Good to see you both.
Yeah. Cheers.
Thank you,
Palace.
Take care. Palace. Okay, let's go through all the guests. If you're enjoying this, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe as well. Let's bring on Patrick next, who's been waiting for a while. Patrick, bring back Pardew. That's what you say. 3-2 win against Sheffield United. Talk to me. You got a smile on your face. It's good.
Yeah, I think I understand some doom and gloom. We're not good defensively right now for whatever reason. But I think I think the effort was there. I disagree with Henry. He said he didn't think they were up for it. I guess Mateta running around all over the pitch, getting involved in everything wasn't an effort. I just disagree. I disagree that wholeheartedly. I think the biggest problem tonight was the midfield. Like, I know, Stan, you thought Lerma played a good game. I saw him get passed around, run past. Hughes is Hughes. I've been saying that all year. Something is off with the midfield. Maybe it's just the way they're being coached. Hughes is a step slower. I think the best midfielder tonight, defensive midfielder, was Ozil. There's no question, because the best defense was the last 11 minutes of the game, extra time. He got close to Hughes, making up for the lack of legs, and he had to kick somebody. Attack what he did on the R end, when he held up the ball for a couple of minutes himself. It was like the 93rd minute. His program to run to the corner to kill the clock. But when you have that much time, him and Ayew worked well together. That was the thing I like. This kid's got to play. Like, I'm a big fan of Roy. Everybody knows it, but seriously, that kid's got to play. He's the best defensive midfielder we got. So I'm glad we got this guy Wharton, but Hughes, no, I'm sorry. Ozil needs to start. But am I missing something on Lerma? Because people say how good he is. He's a box-to-box guy. He's got a good heavy foot on him. His passing is inaccurate. He's not as good defensively as people think. Am I missing something? Or am I just being a new business?
I think he gets really stuck in, mate, to be honest with you. I think he's got a leap of a salmon as well. He wins a lot in the air.
Okay.
He reminds me of a little bit of Kouyaté, Prime Kouyaté when he was with us. You know, he's got an engine on him. He knows he can drive us forward a little bit. I do think with the midfield, I think it is like we really missed Decore. Like he is that engine in that midfield. He marshals that midfield. He's a fantastic player. I do think Adam Wharton will, like I was saying when Tim was on a second ago, he could potentially give us what we've been missing since Gallagher left, which is that zip, that, you know, that ability to really take us forward, take us up the pitch, you know. So
is Wharton a flat 6 or is he an 8? Excuse me.
I think. Well, for me, from what I've seen, he plays like a 6, but I think he's got the ability to play as an 8 as well. He's just not a number 10. I think you can offer it. I think you can do both roles as 6, 8, as a 8. But I think if he comes into Palace, I think it'll be most likely in short term, anyways. Lerma will be like the 8, and then Walton, I guess, will probably play as a 6. But yeah, he's got
Ozil a 6 as well.
What was that?
Is Ozil a 6 as well?
I wouldn't even say Ozil's a 6. I mean, today he played a bit more. Well, he should have played a bit more advanced. I mean, Ozil's probably. I think the best role for Ozil is like a number 8. I think that's. I think to go forward and defend as well. But, I
just think that kid needs to start. I mean, our midfield's so much better with him in there. The little bit we've seen of him, they got better defensively when he was in there. And maybe the thing with me with Lerma is just that. Maybe he's got to go back and forth so much because that midfield has just struggled all year, either passing inconsistencies. Maybe it's the way Roy coaches them. I don't know. It just seemed because that first goal got sliced right through the middle. I mean, it was just passed right through the middle of her.
The Will Hughes is not fit for purpose, mate. He's just like he's good to maybe come on and see it out, but he was like I was watching him today and I was like, "What are you doing, man?" He was shocking.
And is he the only one that can do the job? Quote, in theory, or Ridevolt, they'll never give a chance to again. But it's just because then I guess then Wharton's got to play, or because we don't have no one because we are going to struggle all the way through against good teams, bad teams, and different teams until we get that position straightened out quickly. That's why he sticks Richards there because he's good defensively, but Richards cannot advance the ball with a pass or anything. There were times that could have overlapped today. Joe Ward would have been better.
Jesus Christ. Lad, do not mention him. Like, don't bring him back into this squad again. Done.
Well, Stan, I agree with you, but let's go say it's Nathaniel Klein then. Because Richards is only going to go up to the halfway line. He stays back. He had one good pass to IU today. Other than that, it's nothing. I like Richards, by the way. I think he's a center back. He's a center back. That's what he is.
That's the thing. I've said that Richards should play as a right back in the short term because I know that he's not going to be as good going forward. But defensively, I think he can offer something. But Richards is not the long-term solution. Munoz hopefully comes into the side and changes that. But I guess we're going to see. But Patrick, just quickly looking ahead to the next game against Brighton, from what you saw today, and I'm pretty sure you didn't watch the Brighton game, but they lost 4-0 against Luton. We managed to beat Sheffield United. A bit more optimistic if Eze and Elise are fit that we could go and get a result against them?
I'm optimistic anyway against Brighton because there's years Roy's teams have gotten draws when we had no – or a win when we had no business being on the pitch with them.
Yeah, it's like one shot. Yeah.
I look at it like this. As long as they work hard, and I think they did today. I just think the midfield was the biggest issue for me. But no, I'm optimistic they get a draw out of that. Brighton in the league's been, I don't want to say nothing. They've been average for the last, 6 weeks?
3 wins in 16, lad. So,
yeah, but it wouldn't surprise me if Roy went to 3 in the back. If Munoz can play, I know he can play right wing back as well. So dropping 3 back there might be because their striker right now, what is that? The kid that they got for $30 million, I forget his name, but He outside of today, he's been scoring at will. So I'm
optimistic. He scores a lot of penalties, but yeah.
Got to put him in the net. I think we can get a draw out of it. Are we going to win? Hell no. But I think we can get a draw out of it. I do, honestly. So, but guys, you got other people, and usually I have Florida, but yeah. Real quick, I don't give Paris credit for anything, but it is amazing what fan pressure can do, and all of a sudden money comes out of nowhere. So I'll just leave it at that.
All right, then. Take care, Patrick. Catch up with you.
Mate, out the Palace.
Up the Palace. But yeah, Stan, you actually made a very good point about what Paris said before the window opened. But I mean, we'll talk about it.
It's amazing. Like, I'm gonna have a look down the back of my sofa in a minute.
Yeah, it is.
I'm gonna have a look down the back of my couch in a minute. Maybe I'll find 30 minutes.
Exactly. Oh, exactly. Oh, look, I got $5 here.
I'll be happy to find $1, to be fair. But
exactly. Let's bring on Florida Palace next. Welcome to the show.
How you doing, mate?
A win against Sheffield United. What do you make of it? There's a lot of people that are, of course, I mean, who's going to be upset with a win? Everyone will be happy, but still a lot of question marks as well from a lot of, a few people anyways that's come onto the stream. But what did you make of it today?
Yeah, that was a tough match to watch. Very, very upset with how the team was set up by Roy. I mean, I love Roy. I'm a big Roy guy, but that was just very frustrating to see how we were set up with Hughes in the middle. It was really clear right off the bat with the goal in the first minute by Brighton Diaz that our midfield just wasn't up for it. We got run right through. And then really it was just our talent on the wings and Mateta's hard work up front that got us to pull through with the win. But hard to watch, boys. It's real hard to watch. I relate a lot to the fellow who said he had to pray through the matches, and that's no way I want to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I was there, and I was like, let's just get this over and done with. There's no excitement. There's no excitement. Is it down to the players? Is it down to the tactics? You did mention that you wasn't happy with the midfield. What is it? It feels a bit too slow at times. I mean, tactically, I just don't know what we're doing. First of all, when we're attacking, it just seemed like get the ball to Eze or Elise and hope that they create something, which they did do today, and that's how we scored 3 goals. But other than that, I just don't know what we're really trying to do. And it's not only just this game. There's been a lot of games this season, and that's why me personally, I've wanted Roy out.
Yeah, I think I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but the way the team's set up, maybe a tactical switch, but of course, obviously, the main thing is playing those guys off the bench. You got so much creativity and potential on the bench. When that banner for the Arsenal game that just said wasted potential, wasted talent, wasted players, that's pretty evident when you got Schlupp coming on in the later minutes of the game and just this sort of repeat of the same old story. I mean, Schlupp, you can see why he plays. He does the job that Roy wants him to do, but
does he though? Does he? Like, I think he came on today. Sorry to interrupt, but like he came on today and he was criminal. I'll be honest with you. Like when I saw him, I was like, I couldn't believe it, man. He was so bad.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I don't want to see him out there, but I think that he fills up the space on the pitch that Roy wants him to fill. And when I look at the team's layout defensively, França, while he's so impressive going forwards, I do see moments where I can put myself in Roy's mind and understand why he might not trust him to fill that role. But at the same time, you're wasting him away. You're wasting Hamada away. You're wasting all these kids away off the bench when they don't even get to see the field at all. So
yeah, France. Of course, I don't want to put words into your mouth. Is it defensively? Maybe Roy's worried about putting him on the pitch because I think going forward, he's got that raw ability, but it's raw still. And I think defensively, we haven't really seen much of him. Do you think that's why he's not getting as much opportunities even today? Because I mean, the lead, it was only 3-2 up, and it might have been a bit risky to put France on the pitch. Do you think that's the case?
That's my opinion. I remember back in the days when we tried out Vieira, And when Roy came back to save us from how that turned out, the first thing he did was instill again that defensive shape. And there's certain players that does not suit them. That does not suit their skill set. I feel like initially it even looked like it might have played towards Eze's strengths and hindered Elise initially when we went back from Roy from Vieira. But obviously the caliber of player that Elise is, he's grown into that side of the team, and maybe Roy's worked a few things around him and given him less responsibility. Obviously he runs so hard, which is why he's pulled up so many times with hamstring injuries. But I just fear that France's so young that he's not able to make those sort of tactical changes that Roy to his game that Roy will need from a player who's playing out there covering all that space on the flanks.
And I think that's a fair point to make. That is a fair point to make. Maybe defensively he might not be at the level, but then again, when I look at the game, yes, Sheffield United are going to attack us, but attack is the best form of defense. If we brought on, let's say, a player like France and they had to think a bit more about putting players forward, then maybe we could have hurt them like that. But when you bring on Schlupp, I think there isn't anything wrong with Ozil coming on the pitch, but when you bring on Schlupp, I just think it's just a bit too negative. You don't want to. You lost Eze and you lost Elise. Then you look who you have on the pitch, and when you have Ayew, Schlupp, and Mateta as your front three, I think no team is going to be genuinely worried about that. And naturally, they're going to push forward, of course, because they're chasing lead. And I think we did have that attack on the bench, and we didn't bring him on. But defensively, then that is a fair point. But overall today. Any other performances that you want to discuss? Maybe good or bad? I thought Eze. Let's quickly talk about Eze. There were moments of the game when I was thinking, get a bit more involved, but he scored 2 fantastic goals. What did you make of Eze's whole performance if you exclude the goals? And I have to reiterate, of course, the goals were massive for us. It led us to the win. But his performance, apart from the goals, were you happy with it? Did you want him a bit more involved? Because at times he went a bit too quiet. Then he was on the ball. He went there was phases of the game. Whereas Elise, for me, I think throughout the game, he was just fantastic.
Yeah, this is the best game I've seen Eze play since he pulled up aggravating his ankle or Achilles or whatever it was a few months back. I think that he is one of those guys who you look at him on a game where he's not playing well and you're like, oh man, his languid, relaxed, sort of jazz type of playing style can just be frustrating when you're losing or when it's not coming off for him. But when it comes off for him, it's, I dare say, world-class at times. That first goal took a heck of a lot of athleticism and has something that Southgate will be wanting to look at for the Euros coming up. And that second goal is just a touch of quality from last year when he bagged 10. So very impressive match for him. But it is times when you're down or when it's not coming off for him that he's just, because of his playing style, that languid nature, it can be very frustrating to watch him.
So let me ask you a question. You said you're a big Roy fan. So are you Roy in or Roy out?
Oh, man. I would love for Roy to step down in humility and just give us a safe way to send him off and not have to fire him. So I'm not Roy out, but it is hard. I don't enjoy watching Palace right now, and that's a really hard thing to say, you know?
Yeah, that's that. I just quickly want to ask you about that, and I respect your opinion 100%. I've said it to others as well. If you're Roy in, for example, feel free to call in because it's good to get that the other side of the story. Just you're not happy with the performances, or you're not really happy watching with what's going on. So why exactly are you Roy in, if you don't mind me asking?
I mean, he's just been a servant for the club. Every time we've needed him, he's come through. Even at points in his career where it didn't seem like it was feasible or it didn't make sense. In our worst times, in our desperation, he's there for us. Club legend, you know. I think that it's we don't owe it to him, but it's the right thing to do to give him a shot until it looks like we would be relegated.
Why would you give him a shot until it looks like we would be relegated? That's too far gone as far as I'm concerned. I agree with what you're saying that he is a club legend. He is. but he doesn't come back out of the goodness of his heart. Okay, he loves money. The guy loves
I
money.
disagree, though,
He's
Sam.
78 or however many years old. He don't need to come back and manage football clubs. He loves a paycheck. He loves a pound note.
Or he loves the game. You could look at it 2 ways. Or he loves the game. He loves the game. And I said this when Roy first joined the club, and I'm not talking about this season. Look, this season is another discussion. In the last 10 games of last season, it worked out. And I think, me personally, that's when we say, thank you, Roy. It was fantastic. You came back to Palace, and this is your goodbye. Like, everything was fantastic. Now it's time to move on. I think the biggest mistake is him staying here for another season. And I said this when he joined as well. Look, I don't know if Roy would have joined any other club that were in a position that we were in after the Watford, stint that he had. I think he was done after the Watford one. I think he actually did join us for the love of the club. But then again, of course, we don't know if he's actually in it for the money or whatever. But I genuinely feel like he's done it for the club. Like, the club needed him, and he stepped forward. But the problem that I have now is that's all great also, but we're in another season. We're halfway through the season. I'm looking at some of the plays that we have. I'm looking at the performances, and unfortunately, it's not good enough. We shouldn't be flirting with relegation, which we have been doing for a long time. We shouldn't be. And for me, if we want to keep the likes of Anderson, which I think right now as it stands, he's 100% going in the summer. I think he's gone ahead of Mark Gahey, even though there'll be more interest from Gahey, because I just don't feel like he wants it in the club. If we want to keep some of these players, we have to try and show them that we have a project going. And right now, keeping Roy to the end of the season, let's say we brought in, Graham Potter, and he actually worked with the players on the training pitch, and the football was actually better to play in for the players as well as the fans to watch, then maybe Anderson might think, you know what? It might not be as bad. Let's give it a go next season. Maybe we can bring in 1 or 2 players and we could tell him the project. But right now, as it stands, if I'm Joachim Anderson or any other player, it's a bit stale. I mean, we're saying as fans, it's a bit stale to watch. It must be stale to play in as well. It's nothing exciting. So for that reason, I think if we're looking at the future as well, it's still the right time to get rid of Roy, because I think we need to show to some of these players who are quality that there is a future at Palace. Stay at Palace. We're trying to build something. But right now, with Roy as a manager, I don't think we can sell that plan. And I feel like it's going to be one of the biggest reasons why we're going to lose a lot of these players, because it's just boring. It's boring. It's seriously boring to watch for majority of the season, and it must be boring to play in. So I don't think it helps us in that way, and that's why, you know, if you gave me the option right now, even after this win, yeah, I would get rid of Roy. But I also respect your opinion as well in terms of keeping him, because he's been massive for us in terms of keeping us up in the past as well. But I think 5 years is too long now. We've seen enough of Roy, and it'll be nice for a fresh change. But quickly, before you go, looking ahead to the next game against Brighton, if Eze and Elise are fit, are you confident that we can get a result against them? Because, I mean, they got absolutely thrashed today by Luton.
Is that match at home or is it away?
It's at their ground.
To be honest, boys, even though I love Roy and I would love to see him stay until he leaves him on his own terms, I don't think we're going to get results against the bigger teams. I think we're going to stay up by the skin of our teeth with him as the manager. I'll just be honest. I don't think we're going to get a result there against Brighton. I'd hope to see at least a draw, but that team, even with all their injury troubles, has got serious quality, and their management is top-notch.
Yeah,
top notch.
Yeah. And I think it comes down to that. But then again, in the past we have got results against them under Roy, so maybe the same thing happens. But look, thank you for calling into the show. Hopefully we catch up with you again soon.
Thanks for having me.
Take care.
The Palace.
Out the Palace.
All right, let's bring on Mason next. Mason,
how you doing, lad?
Sheffield United. Finally, we got the job done. There's been a lot of people, like even the previous caller, who's Roy in. He said that, you know, it's at times it's a bit tiring to watch Palace. But what do you make of it today? Of course, great to win and get 3 points against Sheffield United. But are you happy with how the game panned out?
Now, I don't normally speak negatively about a win because that was very, very much needed. I went into this game just wanting a response to that Arsenal 5-0. And not going to lie, I looked at that lineup, and even though he ended up playing quite poorly, I thought, you know, we've suggested putting Chris Richards at right back, and I looked at that and I thought, oh, it's not just the same old lineup that we've seen for the past couple of months, and that's where I went into this game quite optimistic. Like Eze was put in the middle, Ayew was back, Elise's back. All right, we still had Will Hughes in there, but you know, I thought for the most part that looks all right. And then to concede inside 20 seconds to let Ben Brereton. Now, I've watched a lot of Ben Brereton in the Championship, and you know, he's played a couple of games for Sheffield United already, and I could see how dangerous he is if you give him that much space to shoot outside the box. And for Chris Richards to do that was criminal inside 20 seconds. Now the 3 goals were of top quality. Even the finish from Eze for 1-1, what a finish. And the 2 goals from Eze and Elise was sublime. But let's not get it twisted. The full-time score was Eze and Elise 3, Sheffield United 2. Like, there were some players in there that also put in decent performances. I thought Jefferson Lerma got quite stuck in. The passion from David Ozo when he came on was second to none. Like, what you want to see for if you're a fan of a struggling club, like we've been for the past couple of months, you want to see some kind of passion from your players, and that got the fans rocking. Because in the first half, even when we was too, even when we, when Eze equalised and for the second time to make it 2-2 with that absolute banger, I have never heard Selhurst Park so quiet. Like, because I think fans have just had enough. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's just giving me that. It's just giving me that impression, and you know, I think the board have acted way too late with these signings. Like, yes, these signings will help us, you know, in good time. We've needed a new right back for 5 years, really, since Wan-Bissaka left the club. And then you've got Adam Walton as well, who will be great. But it's like, when you've gone from saying, oh, you want loans and bargain players, so all you needed was a thrashing and a couple banners to make you think, oh, okay, let's invest some money. And it's just a case of, it's a bit late because everyone's already deflated. It's going to take a lot for us to get excited again as Palace fans. That's really what I've got to say on the matter.
So in terms of, we'll talk about the transfers a bit later on. In terms of like the actual performance and even the subs, you did mention that Ozo had a positive performance, and I agree, and I've said it all along that he should have, you know, more chances, and we'll see what happens with Walton coming into the club, whether that hinders maybe some of the minutes that he could be potentially getting, especially when Decore is back as well. I don't know what's going to happen with Ozo then. What did you make of the other sub in terms of Jeffrey Schlupp for who was it? Eze? Was it Eze? I think it was Eze. Yeah.
The thing is, right?
No, Elise. I think the Schlupp came in for Elise. Ozo came in for Eze.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was at the game, but I heard, I said it before as well, I heard a few boos, and apparently someone who was listening to the game on the radio heard it as well when Schlupp came on. Is it situations like that in terms of like the subs being negative? Some say I agree with it. Is it that annoys you the most when it comes down to like even a manager and, you know, some of the things that's been going on?
Well, I'm not surprised that Jeffrey Schlupp came on, because the thing is, right, when Elise went off, my heart was telling me either França or Ahamada, but my head was telling me Jeffrey Schlupp, because I know how Roy Hodgson's going to play it. And I can see both sides of the argument, because this was a much needed win, and we were 3-2 up at the time. We just scored. And I thought, Schlupp is a very defensive-minded player, which is why it's negative. But at the same time, like, say if we brought on França and Hamada and then considered the equaliser, there would be fans out there saying, why didn't you put Schlupp on the pitch? Because he can defend. But they're on the other side of the coin. It's like, when Schlupp came on, I barely noticed he was on the pitch. And when he did have to make an impact. He simply didn't. So,
Mason, sorry to interrupt, mate. I agree with you. He didn't. He was absolute toilet. So my thinking about it is Eze's got to come. No, Elise's got to come off, right? So why don't you put Ayew wide left and bring on França to play on the right, or vice versa? Why don't you do that? Because honestly, França came on against Man City, and for the 12 minutes that the old guy gave him, he looked the business, right? And he's that type of player that he can carry you up the field, and that's what we needed. We had 11 minutes of injury time, and we nearly blew it. They hit the bar for crying out loud.
Yeah, the thing is, though, right, as fans, we've only seen it, at home, we've only seen it once this season. I guess you can argue against Wolves because we did go 3-1 up and then they scored a very late goal where they had no chance to come back. But if you count that one, okay, we've only seen it twice at home this season where we've killed games off. And I think that's why the booing started, because yes, we went 3-2 up, but we wanted more. I think that was a point in the game where we felt like we could have broken Sheffield United down a bit more and make the game a bit more comfortable for ourselves. Because as soon as Schlupp came on, it was just a case of Sheffield United cross comes into the box, we'll clear it out. 9 times out of 10, the ball will go straight back to Sheffield United, then they come back at us again. And I think there was 2 chances in quick succession where they could have scored. They hit the bar and Henderson had to pull off a save. Now, I will talk about Henderson for a little bit. The first goal, I didn't have a great angle of it, but from what I could tell, it was quite a decent finish. You can argue that Sam Johnston could have saved it if he was in nets, but I don't know about that one. The second one, though, right? Yes, I heard at the start of the stream that you said about the deflection, and obviously it took a wicked deflection. But the thing is, even when was it McAtee who scored it? Mm-hmm. McAtee, yeah. Even when McAtee goes to strike that ball, positioning-wise, Henderson does not look ready to save it.
He's shocking.
His positioning was terrible. And then when it does take the deflection, it doesn't really change. In essence, it makes the ball move slower, and it just got. And when I first saw it, I thought it looped straight into the top corner. When I watched it on highlights, it went deflected over his head and straight into the middle of the goal, and he didn't even make an attempt to save it. And it's like, it wasn't like an unstoppable deflection. Even if you try and save it and you're unlucky or whatever, then maybe we wouldn't be getting on his case so much.
There was another one where a ball came across the box and he grabbed it and he couldn't even grab it. He dropped it.
It was in the first half.
Yeah.
Did you see the one time he actually had to make a clearance under pressure and he put the ball in the Arthur?
Yeah.
Or maybe on the roof of it.
So what were you saying about the Henderson situation then, Mason? Do you want Sam Johnston in goal for the Brighton game?
I mean, it's a tough one because we need. I would say yeah, but I don't see. The thing is with Roy is that once he finds a lineup in a winning game, no matter what game it is, he will not change it unless he has to with injuries. Now, the thing is with Eze and the league. I mean, back to the goalkeeper thing because no one's injured in goalkeeper anyway. I would like Johnston in goal, but knowing Roy, Henderson will go in goal.
Who's better, Dean Henderson or Wayne Hennessy?
Nah, I just can't agree with that. Like, I don't think Dean Henderson's that bad. He's made some very important saves for us.
The thing is, I think it's hard. I would say Dean Henderson's better, but it's hard to compare because Wayne Hennessy's had a lot more time at the club.
There's no way. I'm sorry. I need to stop this. There's no way we're comparing Dean Henderson to Wayne Hennessy. I'm sorry. We can't. We just need to stop this.
Have you seen him come off his line?
Neither have I, mate. Neither have I, mate. All right, he might not be a 10 out, but he's not. There's no way Henderson and Wayne Hennessy is in the same sentence. Wayne Hennessy. When was Henderson? We could do another show about Wayne Hennessy. He was genuinely terrible for majority of the terrible.
Yeah. And Dean Henderson is worse, mate, because he can't claim a cross.
He's not worse.
He can't claim a cross.
The thing is, right? Henderson made his debut away at Man City, right? So he's had Man City where the 2 goals, he had no chance. And well, he made an unbelievable save to deny Bernardo Silva. If that had gone in, then the game would have been completely out of our reach. Brighton, now, it was an unbelievable header, but he nearly lost us that game with the punch to Danny Welbeck and at that one. So, yeah, I guess you can argue with that one. That was terrible.
Brighton, Brighton.
Yeah.
I don't think he done anything wrong. Goals prevented 0.0. Like, he didn't have.
Did you see him against Arsenal?
5 saves, 3 from inside the box, and run outs. He had 1 out of 1, so he did run out
against Arsenal. Against Arsenal, it was, let's just say, a shocking performance all round. But Henderson, that wasn't great. But you got the thing. Long story short, is that Wayne Hennessy had a lot more time at the club. Give Hennessy the same time as he gave Hennessy, and then we can compare him.
Listen, I seen him against Arsenal. That's all I needed to see, and he got bullied.
Yeah, okay, all right, cool. He had a bad game. Not every goalkeeper is going to have a 10 out of 10 game. Even the top-class goalkeepers, they have bad games. But there's no way we're here right now talking about Wayne Hennessy and Dean Henderson in the same sentence. I'm sorry. There's
Callum in the chat. He's been saying Stan talks bollocks, and he loves me. Callum, come on, mate. We'll have I'll chat a bit more bollocks if you want, mate. Do you know what I mean?
But I don't know. So, Stan, you want Sam Johnson in goal then? 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%.
Right, cool. We'll see. I don't think he will make the change, but yeah, I don't think Dean Henderson's been that bad apart from the Arsenal game. Mason, quickly, Brighton, talk to me. How are you feeling after today's game? Look, then again, they lost 4-0 as well, so. Even though our performance might have not been 10 out of 10, we got the win. Of course, it's Brighton. We know what happens in them games. So you don't really look up, form or any of that because it depends on who really turns up on the day. But are you confident?
The thing is, I spoke to a Brighton fan after the game, sort of trying to, create a bit of banter, but he said, honestly, I haven't seen any of the highlights yet, but apparently Luton played them off the park. But I've seen it so many times where a team will go and play terribly, and then the following week they play Palace at home, and all their problems are solved within 90 minutes.
Well, Arsenal were a prime example. They couldn't string a result together before they played us, wasn't it? Then they played us, and that was it. 5-0. See you later.
Yeah, that's the trouble. So, obviously for Brighton, no matter what form we're in, no matter what form they're in, I will try at least and be optimistic about it. But it all depends on Eze and Elise. Now, I hate to say it again because, before it was the Har FC, now it's Eze and Elise FC.
A 2-man team, not a 1-man team. Improvements.
Yeah, we should be grateful for that. Don't
the
forget.
thing is, we can be Eze and Elise FC. There's no problem with that. My problem lies where we get exposed when those players are not in the side. And when I mean by exposed, of course, the quality is going to go down because I don't think we have any other players in the side that can match Eze and Elise's quality. My stance is that tactically we get exposed because I think we just rely on their brilliance individually to go and get results for us. Yeah. And when they're not there, we can see, tactically, we just look clueless going forward. And that's my problem. With other sides, they'll miss 40 players, but you'd still see some patterns of play or what they're trying to do in the final third. With us, we look clueless. And even today, we beat them 3-2, yes, Sheffield United, but I think you made a very good point about Eze and Elise 3 and Sheffield United 2, because it was their individual brilliance. I'm looking at this Palace side going forward thinking, what are we actually training? What are we trying to do in the training pitch, especially in attack? Because I don't see it. I just see individuals that's creating moments rather than as a team of us trying to do something. And that's where my problem lies. And that's why I feel like, another manager could not hurt us in a way because I don't know what we're good at right now. I don't think we're good defensively. I don't think we're that great in terms of tactics going forward. And it just relies on Eze and Elise, and hopefully they are fit for the game. But it's just that's all we. If one of them have a bad game, and you have to rely on the tactics or someone else to come in, I think we're finished. It's simple as that. Because it's just them.
The trouble is that when they aren't starting Eze and Elise, we don't know how to string a pass together going forward.
Exactly. And that goes down to the tactics. Yes, the quality drops, but if you practice patterns of play, phases of play, then at least on the pitch you're going to see that from some of these players. I don't think these players are that bad. You know, of course they're going to be drop off, but they're not that bad. But that's the problem. I think we're not being well coached, and that's what exposes us. Look at the Arsenal game, for example. Elise wasn't there. Eze was there. It's just Eze. Like, that's what we're relying on. Just Eze. Just Eze. Give the ball to Eze, see what he does. What if I'm Arsenal? I'm just going to stop Eze, and then you stop all of our attack. And that's what happened. And
to be fair, for some of the attacks,
it's not only been Sheffield United. It's been majority of the games this season where I just look at the game and I think Eze and Elise has won this game, not Roy Hodgson's tactics. Or
exactly.
Roy Hodgson's tactics has cost us this game because Eze and Elise are not there, and now we look clueless. It's pretty much the same old.
D. All you got to do is look at the game against Brentford. It was that again. I remember saying after that game, Eze and Elise saved Roy's skin. I think the last game that we actually won without moments of Eze and Elise brilliance was Burnley, and we didn't play well for that.
There was no brilliance in that game, was there?
Exactly. Right? So if you want to look at a game where we played well and didn't rely on Eze and Elise, you could argue Man United away or definitely Wolves at home. That was the last time.
And yeah, looking at 2 games in 20 odd games, and that's where my problem lies with where we're going right now. But look, Mace, I know it's late night. Hopefully we'll catch up with you on Saturday. Fortunately or unfortunately, I won't be here on Saturday, so it'll be someone else hosting the show because I'll be abroad. But look, hopefully we'll catch up with you again soon. Thank you for joining. I don't take care.
How many we got waiting? Because I got to go, mate.
Yeah, no, there's no one waiting. We're going to wrap it up. Just quickly, Stan, before you go, Brighton, talk to me. Might be able to do a preview because there's a few days before the game kicks off. Like, we've got a deadline day and all of that. How are you feeling?
I think, Derby, the form book goes out the window. But with them, you just never know. I mean, you never know what Palace team's turning up.
Yeah,
if they turn up at all. You also don't know what Brighton team is turning up because, like you said, like they might have lost 4-0 today, but they are, and it's really, really hard to admit that they're a really good team. They are, and they got some players that can absolutely cause us a lot of problems. I think if he plays Munoz and he starts Adam Wharton and he doesn't piss around with the lineup, he plays the strongest team available to him. Then I think we've actually got a good chance of getting something, maybe a point, maybe 3. If he continues with Chris Richards at right back, Will Hughes in the middle, and he makes subs like Jeffrey Schlupp, then we're in trouble when we're going to be on the end of a good hiding. So we'll see. But this could also be a typical Roy game, one that he highlights of. No points, because he does do that. And, that's it. But listen, you never know. We've gone up there before when, like they said, we shouldn't have even really been playing. We had 2 shots and scored 2 goals and sent them into a relegation battle. That's not going to happen now. But listen, you never know.
Yeah. Look, that's it from me and Stan. Thanks to every single one of you that's watched us live throughout the show. It's gone on for nearly an hour and a half. If you have enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you're watching this on replay, let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Hopefully tomorrow we will be back with an announcement, and that should be Adam Wharton. If not tomorrow, on deadline day, we'll most likely have a show as well. So if you haven't already done so, subscribe and keep safe, people. And until next time, up the Palace.
Out the Palace.